Welcome to Unpopular Kids, where we are guiding you down the wonderful road of comic books. Go. You should know. You should know we scream. You used to edit. You should know. Good morning, Vietnam. Here we are. Oh, wrong movie. Hi guys. Welcome to Unpopular Kids. I'm Joven. Thank you for tuning in today. A lot of you guys have been. When we get questions for Lightning Round, you guys are constantly asking, "Hey, I want to get into comics. What comic book should I be reading?" Well, today I brought in all my friends, and we are going to answer that question for you today. Starting with the person on my left. He's cute. He's adorable. He's got a fuzzy beard. He's known for cutting videos on Smosh Games, but made popular on Beauty Break. We have Spencer Agnew.
Yay!
Or as we shall call him for the rest of the day, Sped.
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 The Speditor. Sped the editor.
Good to be here.
Sped.
It's good to be here.
Calm it down.
There's literally nothing in that cup. Yeah. There's nothing.
No, there was a little.
There's nothing in that cup.
Now there's no.
Let's be real. This is the fan favorite here. I've tried to avoid it, but no, it's just he's become that popular. He's taking over the show. We have Matt Robb.
Yeah, this is my last episode because I'm too popular to be an Unpopular Kids.
So he's too popular for unpopular.
Yeah, I got a better deal.
He's going to launch a new podcast called Popular Kids.
Oh man, we're just going to give you guys noogies every week. It's going to be great.
Yeah, let's talk about sports and stuff.
There's so much about sports.
Going to be talking whimsical nonsense all day. We have Flitz.
It's only nonsense because you don't understand.
Yeah! That was a weird sound we all made there. Good job. And back by popular demand. By popular demand, I mean his mom called me and told me to put him back on the show. We have Alex Haluk.
Yay!
Alex.
He did it.
Alex,
I'm so proud of you.
Hello, Alex.
Thanks, Mom. Oh, boy.
She also made sure that I said your name properly this week.
Thanks, Mom.
But so yes, this week I did a top 5 on my on this channel where I was like, hey, these are some of the comics that I'm reading right now that you should be reading, and you know what? Those are just my picks and opinions. So I brought everyone else here to talk about theirs. But before we talk about all of the comics that they think you should be reading, let's go into a brand new graphic made by ours truly, Flitz. Is that the correct way to say that? Ours truly?
Sure. You've never made a correct grammar statement.
Yeah, why start now? We have a brand new lightning round.
Lightning storm!
That is awesome. I like that. Look at you.
Look at that.
Look at you.
I don't sleep so I can make those things.
Yeah.
That's the only way they can be made.
That's
Don't
fair.
sleep.
Yeah, you got to sacrifice something.
Thank you, buddy.
No problem. I'm working on others.
Good. So I have some questions here, and I'm gonna start off with you, Alex.
Ooh.
From Michael Henry. A nice, easy name to start things off. Do you think DC should go to Hulu or Amazon to make a series? If so, who should star?
First off, I sense some hostility in the whole easy name thing, Joven.
Yeah.
I sense a little bit of hostility there. Calm down. Got very racist. Second, I would say they absolutely should go to Amazon or Hulu or any digital distributor because everyone... Crackle, fine, go Crackle. That's great. I don't think so.
Star is streaming.
I think CISO took the new third place. Yeah, that coveted third place. But I say absolutely. They're doing great on network with their current offerings, and I think as long as they keep the same showrunner tone and everything else, showrunner's tone, like concept and everything else, I think they could do very well for digital.
Really, the same tone, because what I liked with Marvel is like you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on television, but Netflix, even away from the cinematic universe, allows them to get darker and grittier and change the tone. You want to keep, well, then again, I don't think DC knows their tone right now.
I was going to say, there's no consistency.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, usually I'm saying that in a negative way, but as far as their television offerings go, they're fairly diverse. And so what was the second part of that question?
Who should star?
Who would star in what? Who would star?
Who do you want? Oh, name an actor.
Man, I think I would love to see Clark Kent before he's Superman. Maybe in the town he grew up in. Maybe call it small town Kansas. Small place. Small town. I'd love to see something. DC has a great crop of supernatural offerings. Like if you go way back, like Gotham by Midnight and like a bunch of the older like Hellboy with Image and all that. Like I would say something like Gotham by Midnight. and
fun.
I would put someone. I don't.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck as Batman.
Sounds good to me.
in Gotham
Casey
by
Affleck.
Midnight.
Yeah.
That one.
Sounds good. Next question for Flitz. We're going to, we got this from YouTube also. Jake Miro says, what are your thoughts on the direction of the Marvel TV shows compared to the Netflix miniseries route?
Man, the Marvel Netflix miniseries are like children to the cinematic universe, whereas though the TV shows are like a dog that eats scraps and will never be healthy.
Wow, that is harsh.
That was actually a great analogy.
I'm the one guy watching those shows. And that's that one guy. No, there's some that are good. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finally found its voice.
But at the rate that I got into, and I'm going comparing here, the rate I got
dogs
into
to babies, yeah.
to dogs to babies, that I got into like The Flash and even
Sure.
Green Arrow, which I don't like that much, but I can jump back into,
Yeah.
versus S.H.I.E.L.D., which I just churned, and even on Netflix and the Carter series, they don't grab me, and it's even been said by the dude who plays Coulson. He's like, yeah, we get the scraps. Like they even said it. So
I think it's just a connectivity thing. I don't know. I like them. The only one.
All right, next question before Matt Rob starts to cry over here. 3 easy questions, or easy names in a row. Sped, we got from Jack King on YouTube.
Jack King what?
Jack King of Your Mom.
Oh.
Which movie breaks the video game curse? Which movie breaks the video game curse?
That sounds like a test. Did you study for this?
That is a good question.
I need
Super Mario Brothers leaves Los Angeles at 45 miles per hour.
and if there isn't one, I'll also give you the freedom of which one coming out could break.
We ruined our one chance at getting a good one when they kicked what's-his-face off of the Uncharted movie. Because everyone was David O. Russell.
David O. Russell.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought you were
'cause
talking
they
about Mark Wahlberg. You talking about
No,
Mark
I think
Wahlberg?
he would have been a good Nathan Drake. You know, and they had Robert De Niro on board, and they had Joe Pesci.
Yeah, that would've been fantastic.
They were. He said he was going to focus on the family elements, and the fans were reacting negatively. And
Yeah,
so,
because we want an Indiana Jones adventure with a video game character.
Yeah,
That's my
and I
Mark
mean, just-
Wahlberg. by the way.
Wahlberg is really good.
Stinks.
Sorry, don't worry.
And I think that would have been our best shot at something. But that being said, I am very excited for the Warcraft movie.
Okay.
Really?
Really, really.
watched the
I
trailer,
think
yeah.
I'm one of.
The-
I think
I
I'm
watched
one
it
of
again
about a
recently.
dozen.
Well, did they just change the name? Because I feel like in the last trailer they added, as you had
That was the
Warcraft, and it's
Australian
like
trailer.
the beginning. Oh,
They gotta
thank you
be
for clearing that up,
different.
Sped.
Gotta be different.
Different language over there.
Yeah, it is. It's all upside down. Next
Criminal
question, Matt Robb from
Aye.
@George. Here we go. Brassia.
Costanza.
Who should play Zordon in the new Power Rangers movie?
Oh, man.
Alan Rickman. Say Alan Rickman.
But that, he
He
can't.
died.
We'll just
can't.
splice his words from all of his other movies.
Also, that would be an interesting Zordon.
Power Rangers.
What is that?
That was him splicing
Yeah,
voices
splicing
together.
voices.
Got it.
He was fixing it in
I
post.
thought he'd be like Mr. Power Ranger.
How
retard
far
has
out
attacked.
Do you think we are from an all-digital performance from a dead actor?
Pretty, not that far out.
Tupac performed on stage
Yeah.
recently.
If we can hologram it, we could do it.
We could
I don't
jam
think.
in the
I mean,
holograms.
there's the Fred Astaire dancing with a vacuum. Like, we're not that far off. I think they tried it with a Bruce Lee movie, but it didn't play.
The Audrey Hepburn Gap campaign.
Exactly. She was great. She did the little dance.
Yeah.
Zordon. Well, I mean, I feel like they're going in a really weird whitewash direction with Elizabeth Banks as Rita. So I don't know, Jack Black.
Who does it?
Rangers, look at there. Like just him, like.
I would watch
I would watch Oh yeah. I'd see that in 3D.
It's gigantic, so it already. You don't even need to blow it up.
It's like a Wizard of Oz problem. Like
Yeah.
you go, like they just walk around the corner. The Rangers walk around the corner, and they're like, they just see Jack Black there, like talking into a mic with a camera.
But it's
in front of
actually
him.
not. They don't actually project his head. They just have him wear like a green blanket over his body, and then they just crop out his body, and he's like, hey. Like,
He doesn't actually say anything. He just makes those weird sounds.
Like Zordon, where do we go? Like that's nonsense words.
was in Kung Fu Panda.
It's like, thanks, Zordon. I guess we're just gonna go towards that giant fire over there, and maybe there's destruction
Thanks,
there.
Zordon. Bye. And oh my God, and Kyle Gass as Alpha, where he only talks in guitar notes.
That's not a horrible idea.
I'm
actually.
down.
Actually getting excited.
Yeah, Tenacious D in Power Rangers.
Tenacious D in a morphing time.
It's probably better than the movie we're actually gonna get.
Yeah. You said probably. Yeah. I meant to say
It
definitely.
is.
I don't know why people are mad about Elizabeth Banks though. I think she's.
No. Also, they didn't use Max Landis' script, and it was
Okay,
really
well, there's
good.
a reason.
So
I think
good.
there's
It was so good.
He has a script for everything.
He does. He does. He does.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. His Titanic script is fantastic.
Titanic
really
3.
good, yeah.
Next question. Back to Alex from @ProBearValter. What are your thoughts on the new Gwenpool character, and would calling her Girlpool be better?
I haven't read Gwenpool.
Do you have any thoughts or
There's
opinions?
Gwen Stacy as Deadpool?
Yeah, what
I
is
think
that?
That's like a new. I think that's.
I think it was, like,
yet
just
another
talked about recently.
Nonsensical Deadpool storyline. No, it's a thing.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think
It's like
it's-
the Poolverse because the Spider-Verse is doing
Yeah,
so
there's
well.
not enough in the Spider-Verse.
I have no problem with it. I mean, like, why are people upset? Like, it's Deadpool. What haven't they done?
Well, is it Gwen Stacy?
Yeah, I think so.
I think honestly, you know how the music industry will make songs that people can specifically cover. I think what they're doing here
they're
is
making
they're
characters
they're
for
making characters
cosplay.
for cosplay because Spider-Gwen is so hot
She's a
right
cosplay
now.
pop star. She sells. I want the hoodie.
Of course you do.
You can
Of
rock
course
that.
you do.
I know I could.
The Deadpool universe is like talking about like, well, what are your thoughts about that one What the comic from 30 years ago? It's like it means nothing.
It's just a bunch
Yeah.
of what ifs.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
feel like it's not going to change anything or go in any direction. In like 6 issues that a bunch of fangirls will buy up and make cosplays.
Well,
I don't know, it'll be over.
Also, Gwen Stacy's not a murderer. That doesn't.
Remember, the shelf life on cosplayers' memories and their
Easy,
attention span
easy.
is like 60 seconds. So,
career
like,
life.
What's the new character being announced?
It'll be gone. Yeah, it'll be gone in like a month.
Though I don't like Gwenpool. I think they should just call her Dead Gwen.
Dead Gwen. Oh, good
way
joke.
better. That's way better.
Dead Stacy.
Dead Stacy.
All right, next question for Flitz. @Smeghead64. Who should play Captain Britain in the rumored new TV series?
That's good.
Make them work out, and take the dude who took over the kingdom after his dad died in Game of Thrones. I can't remember any of their names. They're one of the
just a bunch
Starks.
of
Rob.
It's
Was it
either-
Rob? It was Rob. I think it was Rob.
Rob Stark.
Yeah, make Rob Stark Captain Britain. Give it to him.
Got her chin for it.
Chris Hemsworth was little at some point, but Marvel got money and weight machines. They
Have
can
you
do
seen
it.
the first Fantastic Four with Chris Evans?
And Rob Stark's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And Rob's exactly, but being dead. So, or maybe I don't know how that world
We don't
works
know how
anymore.
that
But
goes.
yeah, give it to Rob Stark. I feel like I think he's a good actor, and I feel like Britain for Britain, right?
Yeah.
Or give it to an American actor because all the British people in Australia are taking American jobs.
Yeah, give it to Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
Bill Cosby for Captain Britain.
Yeah, Captain Britain and Betsy
Cross-cultural
Braddock.
casting right there.
My sister's a
progressive.
mutant.
Drink more Britain juice. Go sleep at times, Britain juice. Go. Oh, you're sleeping.
Arthur Pendragon.
I'm feeling bad because I can't remember his name, and he's one of my favorite actors.
Billy Banks, the guy from Tybo?
That's definitely one of my favorite actors.
He was going to say Billy Zane.
Shaun of the
man.
Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Simon Pegg?
Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg.
He's not British.
Doesn't matter. You'll do great.
Simon Pegg's
Simon
British.
Pegg's British.
Totally.
They're still a part of Britain.
It means nothing.
Ireland
It's
is a part of Britain.
It's over the pond in some.
They're all
Do you want to come back on the show? Do you want to come back on the show?
Britain. This United
Next
Kingdom-
question. Sped,
See
we're
what
back
happens
at
when
you.
Nicole and the Irians yell at each other.
She's like the moral compass of this show.
Speaking of Simon Pegg, though, have you guys read The Boys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get there.
Don't jump ahead. Jeez. Sped, @DJTodd13 asks, what TV show would make for a pretty good video game? What type of game would it be? And not a great video game, just a pretty good video
Just a
game.
pretty good video game.
Pretty good.
Just pretty good. Not great.
Yeah, it's got to be like Witcher 2. Witcher 3 was great. Witcher 2, pretty good.
I didn't enjoy any of the Witcher games.
Whoa!
Jeez. Welcome to Unpopular Kids.
That's my unpopular opinion. Jeez. This is supposed to be fast.
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
On the spot.
Let's see, what TV shows do I actually
Arrow's a good
watch?
show.
Arrow's
Flash. Maybe.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Keeping Up with the
That already
Kardashians.
has a
Unbreakable
great
Kimmy
game.
Schmidt.
Oh man, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, where it's just
Has
like
to be
it's like a brick break game.
Or the Unbreakable Kim Kardashian, where it's a black.
Yeah, you guys keep talking while I keep thinking.
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
keep cracking.
What else could we do? It could be.
Is
what
Alias
else?
still on air?
The news.
X-Files came back. We can have a Telltale X-Files. Oh, that's a good idea.
That's actually not that far-fetched at all.
It would be like Mist. Nothing happens for a long time, but you get all of these
Is there
pieces
enough
put
of a
together.
fan base of X-Files?
Aliens.
I mean,
Yes.
Not after that
100%.
new series.
There's like 6
Their
of them.
Pee-wee's
comeback
Big
series.
Adventure.
Telltale could do that. I feel
Daredevil.
like Telltale. I wouldn't be surprised if in 10 years we have a Telltale version of
Fairly Odd
literally every
Parents.
major.
or Telltale version of every Telltale game.
Yeah. Telltale's
Can we have like
Batman.
a redo of Telltale's Jurassic Park?
That would be. I would be in. Actually, let's just get a proper Jurassic Park game.
That's not a TV
Or
show.
a proper Jurassic Pork game with Spider-Ham.
No.
Okay.
No, but
It's no
if I could
and.
just take this, if I could just take this opportunity to pitch my Jurassic Park game.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, we could get a Breaking Bad RPG.
Breaking Bad? Okay, yeah.
Like
I would-
a little
Telltale,
drug-selling
Breaking Bad,
empire.
Just
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto with Matt.
No, but it's like a super realistic, grounded Grand Theft Auto where like everything has super intense consequences.
And you have to drive
like the
carefully
Mass
because if you
Effect-
get pulled over and you got meth in your trunk, you're doomed.
Yeah,
Telltale's Breaking Bad. I would play that.
I wouldn't.
yeah, I'm kind of done with the Telltale formula.
Yep.
But Batman is
Batman,
coming
no.
out.
I'm not gonna play it.
Next question. This one we're wrapping up with Matt Robb. Actually, I'm very interested on your opinion on this. At
I'm not gonna
the
give it.
Anaconator.
Anna Connor, big fan of the show.
Anaconator. What do you think about Suicide Squad reshooting to get a lighter tone?
Oh man.
So this news dropped last week after we ragged on. It was us. We ragged on Superman, and they're like, guys,
it was too serious.
have you seen this week's Unpopular Kids? Zack Snyder runs
I
into a
like to
boardroom.
really think that there's a WB exec that watches this show.
Our beloved ones don't even watch this show. I think it just proves my theory that everything that they're doing with the DCEO, which I hate that they're calling
call
it
it
the
that.
DC Extended Universe. That's like the official nomenclature. EO.
Oh, that sounds European.
DCEO. The
It's
DC.
Europe taking
Wouldn't
over
it
the
be
DC
the
universe.
DCEU?
Yeah. No, the DC Extended Universe.
Based on Captain EO.
Yeah,
I
Captain.
thought it was
That
like
sounds even
I thought it was
more European.
EverQuest Online.
DC EverQuest.
It proves the theory that they are, in the film side, they are so reactive and so panicky that they're like, oh man, everyone hated about
What
how
do you want?
yeah, they're so serious about the Batman Superman, but made so much money, but everyone's like, this sucks. Let's just make it funny, guys. I do think it's interesting that everyone's chiming Deadpool, and they're all referencing that Deadpool did this. It's like, but if that's the case, that news would have broke a while ago.
Yeah.
It's obviously they don't care about the money anymore. They care more about like our opinion as fans. Thank God. But
That's a good start.
It's a
Yeah.
lie, though. That makes it a lie. Because for me, movies are art. They're really trying too hard at the product.
But my problem is like, why would you make a movie with like a Harley Quinn and a Joker and it's not funny?
That's I don't think it is. They're not viewing it as fan service. They're viewing it as damage control.
Yeah.
Like they're just trying to spin out of.
I just hope they get dark humor. I hope it's dark humor. Not
Dark
like
side humor.
they're like, we need a punch up. It's like, no, you need like a grit with like tickles. Like
Yeah, don't make it Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, yeah, exactly.
Because like Marvel did that already. Like this should have like
Here's
its
a movie.
what it should be is like you're right, like that darker but funny tone. It's a dark comedy.
you should be nervous about
It seemed
laughing.
like from what I was reading, the problem was that they
Oh, this is my lightning round shit.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
they did the trailer. Everyone loved the Queen trailer, and then it was like fun and it was upbeat, but like still like gave the right tone.
Queen was reactive. All of this stuff is reactive. The Queen trailer was the blue suede trailer from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like
even
the Queen trailer more.
that's fine.
But like apparently like that's not what the movie is though. Like all the funny parts of the movie are in that particular trailer, and then it's all like,
do that. That's so weird.
I know.
And it wasn't that funny.
No, it wasn't. Oh, but Boomerang cracked a beer at that one moment. Get it? Because he's an alcoholic. Alcoholism is funny.
and
It is funny.
Australian.
It is very
and
funny.
Australian.
It's gonna be bad. I know I rag on the DC movies a lot, but I'm gonna see
not
it.
good.
I'm gonna see it. I'm not gonna hate on it for no reason. I'm really curious what they do with Harley Quinn. We've never seen her in a movie. It could be really fun. There's got to be something redeemable in the movie, so we'll see it. But I do think that it's very reactive. But I'm also like, okay, great. Then make it funny. Good.
What are the metrics they look at? Or do they even look at, do they just troll Twitter? Like, are they just pulling in focus
They use the
groups?
Imperial
Like, are they
system.
just, like,
They read Kotaku.
but, like, what numbers are they looking at where they're like, sample group A?
Yeah, I don't know.
Said that.
I mean, because there's no direction. There's no Kevin Feige.
I
There's
told
no
you, they watch this show, and then they go off of our opinions.
It's such a weird single white female thing when you look at it. Oh, they did that. Oh, we're going to do that too.
Yeah.
Oh, they did. Oh, well, we're going to do that
Or
too.
they did
Like,
that, so we're going to do the opposite. Oh, they do end credit sequences? We will never do end credit sequences. It's like, okay.
I think they're in a lose-lose situation
Yeah.
though. They can do no right.
Unless they.
I don't ascribe to that. Like, they have two of the biggest properties.
And they couldn't do it right.
They just have to do what they'd have to do them.
Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
And
Yeah.
those two.
Like some of the complaints I was seeing leveled against, it was like, oh, like all they did was, they literally just copied frames from the comic books in Batman versus Superman.
I'm
It's
okay
like,
with that.
yeah, and like, where's that was a complaint I saw leveled amongst many of my friends against it. It's like, well, what do you want? Like, do you want? And it's like, oh, it didn't copy the comic
I'm
books.
okay
It wasn't
with
loyal
that.
enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm personally fine with.
I like shots that look like
What I read.
drawings.
I
and picture
agree.
frames.
I fully agree. But my biggest problem with Zack Snyder doing that is that's all he does. Watchmen
That is
was
all he does.
literally a dramatic reading of the comic.
Which I was thinking last night. I was like, I'm excited to see him do the Flash because Zack Snyder loves slow motion.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a still frame. It's a still frame. It's Zack Snyder doing real life slow motion.
It
It's
should
just
be the
gonna be
slowest flash we've ever seen. Great.
It's not going to top the Quicksilver.
No.
That was amazing.
Do you think that
Quicksilver the
they'll
movie?
top
Yeah, the
themselves in
Quicksilver.
Apocalypse?
The one in the Avengers, obviously.
You think it'll top what?
Do you think the one in the scene in Apocalypse will top what we saw in Days of Future Past?
They said it will.
Sequel law, they're going to try.
Chance.
Didn't they spend like a month on it or something? Don't whisper it. Just go straight to my ear and it feels weird.
Stop it. All of you. This was my lightning round. No, I think I don't know. Sequel law says, yeah, do what we did in the first movie, but make it bigger. So it'll be like slow motion, but it'll also be juggling. I don't know. It'll be something dumb. But we're gonna
that.
fucking see it.
I'll
So
take
let's
that.
all just shut up.
I just keep looking at Sped for him to say or do something funny again.
Be funnier.
All right, guys. Hey, that was lightning round. Thanks so much for sending in the questions. Remember, we will answer your questions. All you have to do is tweet to us or leave a comment down below with the hashtag #UnpopularKids. See, right down there. That's how you do it. And then we'll take the best questions or the questions we haven't answered before, and we'll spread them to all of these people, and we'll answer them. Yay! Now to the topic. We'll spread them
So
like
much real life
venereal
enthusiasm there. Calm it down.
I was trying so hard to make sure I said unpopular right. So this week, I want us to talk about, I want us to answer your guys' main question of, hey, I want to get into comics, but I don't know where to start. Well, there's not necessarily just a place where you need to start. There's just a lot of good things that you can read to get up to like a good place of comic book knowledge. And we are going to talk about our top 10-ish titles.
To
Each
get
of us.
you in.
Each
To
of
get
us.
Each of us. Do
These are
we
the
want to
gateway
go?
drugs.
Do we want to go in a row and then we'll just kind of comment as we go?
Go each of us. Each
So,
of us throw one in. But
Alex?
we're going to put each of these in the description down below.
Yeah,
because
we are.
I know that most of you are probably doing your laundry
You
or
are.
homework while you listen to this.
Yes.
So
And maybe one day they'll be able to listen to on iTunes.
Or your taxes.
Or yeah, you're probably doing your taxes.
We know the demo.
for you.
The Ides of April are coming.
I'm scared.
Yeah, no one likes that
grown-ups.
topic. All right, bring it back to the fun stuff. Comic books. Alex, it's not as you have to like list them all out. Well, it's going to turn into a discussion. So tell us what are some of the stuff on your top 10.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to start. I have a list. I'm going to start
okay.
at number
Well,
10.
you came prepared.
I read a great article that made me remember this great book, All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison, in reaction to Batman vs. Superman recently. It's this really vibrant, oversaturated, wonderful tale of Superman, and it's nothing but hope. Hope. Superman is basically dying because he's over-radiated,
Yeah.
long story short, and
He basically has super cancer.
it's not
Super
a
cancer.
spoiler. It is absolutely not a spoiler because it's in like the first four pages or something.
Yeah.
It's really early on, and it's Superman at his most like humane, nurturing, loving, like optimistic, altruistic, and it's what Superman was and is to so many people before the WB didn't know how to translate
The
the
WWW.
WWW. Didn't know how to translate Christopher Nolan's multi-million-dollar Dark Knight into Superman's franchise. Like they had no idea how to like make those two worlds meet. So they just made Superman this like angsty, depressed, like teenage
Loner.
that doesn't work for that character. And so All-Star Superman is everything people that scream that's not Superman or that's an invalid interpretation. It's what they want to see Superman be. So it will at least give you context as to what the character was before WB.
Before and New 52.
Sure.
New 52 too.
Sure.
Because
Yeah, he's just always very dark. I think it was, what was it, the last one, Infinite Crisis,
Yeah.
where he punched through the dimensions and got really dark and
Yep.
demented. I mean, they've always tried to make him dark, right? Even in Death of Superman in the 90s, they brought him back with that mullet. They've always tried.
and wearing all black, he's
Black
the
suit.
gun.
Yeah,
Black
he's
suit.
the gun, that's right.
But that was like the 90s when that really started happening. I mean, up until the 90s, it was just bright red and
Super,
blue
yeah.
all
A
the time.
beacon of
like,
light.
Beacon of hope.
Yeah.
A beacon of light that you don't see in the movies. It's all
Right.
No, he's
dark.
just super depressing, but he really loves his girlfriend. Did you see the animated movie that they did of All-Star Superman?
No, I have not
It's pretty
yet.
solid. They
Yeah.
bastardized some of it. Like there was like it got a little weird because they also wanted to do like Death of because I don't think that they could actually kill him off. They wanted to do kind of Death of Superman, kind of All-Star Superman. But if you can't read,
There's a movie.
There's a movie that
There
you
is a
can watch.
hieroglyphic in motion.
Yeah.
Now, is All-Star Superman, is it a long line, short, easy to read, fast?
No,
or
it's
is it
easy
going
to
to be
read.
like,
Yeah,
it's a
very
pretty quick
fast.
train.
Yeah, it's
How
very,
big are
it's
the
very
words?
quick.
yeah.
Typeface, 12 point, not times zero, but,
lots of
12
pictures and
points.
sounds?
Yeah.
What else is on your list?
All right, my number 9 was Guardians of the Galaxy, the current run, which is, again, super vibrant, super sci-fi, space opera.
Now, that was the one that was released in conjunction with the movie, right?
With the
Yeah.
new Marvel.
Yeah, with the Marvel.
Because now
When
they're Guardians of
Star-Lord was
Nowhere.
cool.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
But it's just, again, big space opera, like, really awesome, sweeping, overarching, fun, like,
That's
which
good.
you don't get a lot in comics, and so that's number 9. My 8 was Drax, for the same reason, but Drax is a little darker, a little bit more, like, tonally fixed, but, again, fun, sweeping.
Is that
like,
what did they also adhere to the Drax rule of the movie where he doesn't understand phrases and colloquialisms?
Good.
That's cool.
And then 7 is Venom Space Knight. Again, like my list is just like whimsy and like fun. Venom Space Knight does not take itself too seriously. In the latest issue, he's rescuing a space panda's cub from this mercenary who's
that
hunting
Flash
him.
Thompson?
Yeah,
Is
it
it
is
Flash
Flash.
Thompson
It is. It's Flash.
Venom?
And it's after Secret Agent Venom. He's now Space Knight Venom.
Okay, so
And
this is Spider-Man Venom, right?
yeah, Splash.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
can
old
you
school
give
Flash
some,
Thompson
for
Venom.
those who don't know, a little context, like it's just Venom's in space and now he's at night?
Yeah, he has
That's the context.
he has prosthetic legs and a snarky robot friend who like quips to him and wishes for death.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a parody of an older Marvel comic called Rom Space Knight.
Yes.
Yeah, which was a really
I
wacky
remember
space adventure.
Rom.
Yeah. But it's like they're like, we need Rom stuff, but no one gives a crap about Rom.
But
so-
everyone
But
loves
Venom,
Yeah, everyone
Rom.
loves Venom. Everyone,
everyone-
loves Topher Grace.
That's right. Topher Grace is
Topher
Stop
Grace
that.
reprises his role as Venom.
as Flash
stop
Thompson.
that
But
also.
here, if you think about the movies, think about the Flash Thompson from Spider-Man 1, Joe Manganiello.
That was Joe Manganiello?
Yeah,
Joe
he was,
Manganiello.
look how tiny he was.
Jeez, this guy is literally in all these movies.
Think about Joe Manganiello as Venom and how horrifying that would be.
That would actually be really cool.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Oh, I would love that.
Son of a... Good for him.
Yeah.
I like Joe Manganiello.
We should have him on the show.
Yeah, call him.
Hey, I'm sure he watches.
Let's tweet at him. We'll tweet at him.
Everyone's mom watches this show. So
Also,
Mama
you
Manganiello.
guys tweet at him too.
Yeah, everyone tweet at Joe
Joe Manganiello. Be like,
Joe
oh,
Manganiello. Is his Twitter just Joe Manganiello?
it's Mr. Muscles 5000. Actually, I don't know.
Mr. Muscles 316.
Yeah.
Google it. Find him. Alex,
My
what's
number
the next one?
6, Amazing Spider-Man, the Amazing Grace current run going on. Yeah, miniseries. People shit on this run a lot because they're calling it super dark and a little bit tonally off from typical Peter Parker fare. But I don't understand the criticism because he's still super quippy, super witty. Peter, the whole thing is honestly lined with jokes. He's fighting an affiliate called the Santorians. They
Thank God no Santorians.
They practice Santorian.
But do they have crystal balls?
They got crystal balls.
Oh.
wow.
They have $1 million.
And they spend it all?
And they spend it all.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we just raised Brad from the dead. Oh, yeah. That's definitely where I was going. So, yeah. It's really good. It's really supernatural, and there are a lot of religious overtones to it, which people pick it apart for as well. But it's excellent.
Now-
It's Peter being Peter.
Our audience loves Spider-Man, and now this is because Spider-Man's definitely really hard to jump into because now Spider-Man's not a kid in high school anymore.
Right.
He's an adult who's running the company.
Parker Industries.
Where is it? Where do you start with this one?
After Parker Industries. So like after Spectacular, where he is a global multinational corporation,
yeah.
multi-channel network.
And then
He
how was the
is-
numbering on this one? Did this start with a number one?
It starts
Was
at
it Marvel now?
1.1,
Yeah.
and now it's up to 1.4. I think just dropped, and I
Okay.
think that's the last one. I haven't read the fourth yet.
So it's just the Amazing Spider-Man.
yeah, it's just Amazing Spider-Man.
Go read it.
right now. Yeah, but 1.4 just dropped, so it's only 4 issues into this miniseries.
There you go.
It's great. It's great. Number 5, Gotham by Midnight.
Which you talked about earlier?
Yep, we just talked about earlier. Basically R.I.P.D., but with Batman. So great, everyone
So
wins.
Ryan Reynolds as Batman.
Ryan Reynolds is Batman.
Wasn't
did that come
wasn't
out?
there Gotham by Gaslight?
That was the
one
Gotham
too?
by Gas Lamp, which I
Right.
guess this is a
Oh.
play on kind of. in a
Kind
way?
of, but it's all
Gotham by Midnight?
supernatural. It has like the Spectre and everything else. Like Jim Gordon has made an affiliate to take on supernatural cases. The Batman just goes, I don't know, and he hands. I don't have a gadget
Batman just doesn't believe in it. So
He's like,
he-
sorry, I don't believe in ghosts, and so they take it on, and they're like I said, like R.I.P.D. basically. But
So if you get into it, it's a good read, but don't expect Batman to show up all the time.
no, but he does, of course, but like
Okay.
not all the time. No, not all the time, not at all. Sorry. 4 on the note, Batman 66.
So good.
Yeah,
So good.
It's the perfect amount of. It hits the note perfectly of classic Adam West Batman. It is hilarious. It is over the top. It is exactly what you would expect.
We were
Who's,
just.
behind that.
It's a new team of writers. I know a buddy of mine is
don't
editing
know.
it, Jim Chadwick. It's basically a DC team doing it. I know Mark Andreyko, who's a movie fights guy, is doing Wonder Woman 77, which is based on
Yeah.
the Linda Carter Wonder
Yes.
Woman series, which I haven't read yet. But it looks so good. We were actually talking about this because there's an amazing cover that Alex Ross did of Two-Face in Batman 66. Where he's just sitting there and it's so good.
The
all of
art's
it.
great.
Yeah.
The stories are great. Like they're great. They're always putting him in some ridiculous contraption to murder him. Like it's so spot on. It's exactly what you want.
How far into Batman 66 are we right now in the story?
I mean, every issue's a bottle episode,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh, so,
It's like
so
a
pretty much
show.
you can pick up
You can pick
any
up any
issue
episode.
and then you're good.
They're not. Yeah, it's not a contained storyline. It's all.
That's
it's
fantastic.
Just like the series.
You've sold me.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's solid.
It's perfect. You need to read it. Sorry, I'm blabbering.
Same bat time, same
3,
bat
same bat issue. The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl was my number 3.
Yeah.
I've heard just great things about
It's so
Unbeatable
good.
Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, I'm a big Mad Magazine fan, and like for me, the little nuances of like just the jokes in between the panels and on the bottom of the pages like make it so much better. Like
So
so
just
much
good
more
art
fun.
style, good stories.
Good stories, good like in jokes. Like it is lighthearted, fun, funny. Like it's great. Howard the Duck was in the latest one.
Stop trying to make Howard the Duck a thing.
Yeah, it's all about Spider-Ham.
I would
the
think
thing.
that Joe would be the number one Howard the Duck.
No,
He's
so
being
would I.
contrarian. He loves Howard the Duck.
Since the movie to the Guardians quip at the end, no.
It's great.
It's great. You just hate it because George Lucas was attached to it.
It's really good.
Poor George Lucas.
It's really good. Do you want me to keep going? I'll
Yeah.
wrap up.
Stop
Great.
going.
No, don't stop. Number 2, Silver Surfer, is what they just rebooted it, of course. It's what Doctor Who should be and absolutely isn't. It's
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa.
I've got
Did you?
opinions.
guys,
Shired.
Yeah, someone called 911.
I've got
I think there's
opinions.
gunshots.
Yeah, I've been triggered. So, Silver Surfer is obviously an intergalactic like demigod rolling around with a companion.
Harrow.
And
Is it his surfboard? Did you just talk
yes,
to his
it's
surfboard?
just him and Surfy, the surfboard.
Sentient surfboard.
Yeah, the SS surfboard.
SS from the SS.
Disney's Silver Surfer.
Coming to a theater near you.
Oh, God, no.
In tandem with Fox.
Soul Surfer, right?
Soul Surfer, yeah, nope, that's not what it's called.
It's Butthole Surfers.
It's Butthole Surfers, the band from the 90s.
Yeah.
But also a surfing gym. But it's fantastic. The Silver Surfer is basically the Doctor with a little bit less benevolence. Like he's fine with blowing away an entire alien race if it means saving another one. Like it's really, really, really good. First class stuff. And then number 1, everyone should be reading it, is X-Men 92. Because I think it's the best, most quintessential take on the X-Men franchise. I really miss those old Jim Lee days, and it feels exactly like you're picking up a book straight from 1992,
Now,
93.
if someone loved the 90s cartoon, is this a good read for that?
They will eat its butt. They love
Hole
it.
surfers.
That's
surfers.
love. Make sure the shower's first though,
Yeah.
because you never want to get like a leftover in there.
They don't care.
It's solid. It's so campy. I feel like it's in the kind of the same vein as the Batman 66 stuff,
Kind of.
but it's so fun.
It takes itself a little more seriously, but yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely in the camp town, and it's just so fucking solid.
And so,
solid.
And
How-
is the Batman 66 referring to 1966?
Yes,
yeah,
literally.
Okay.
That's when the series was on the air.
And that's when
Okay.
the
77
the movie
and
actually
92.
came out in 66.
What else
The
could we
big
add
movie.
this to? Because this seems to be a theme with the Wonder Woman 77.
77 just
Dude,
is
if they
happening.
did a Batman 89 and it was just
Oh,
Batman.
That is a thing.
Is it a
Yeah,
thing?
that is a thing.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a real
man.
thing. Yeah.
We're gonna get
Agreed.
Spider-Man 01.
We're just dancing.
No.
Hey, that's more like 08, 09.
RoboCop 87.
There you go.
That's what
Get
the,
a man a
the
hand.
Frank Miller's Batman, or the Frank Miller's RoboCops are basically all
yes.
the RoboCop 87.
That's the one where RoboCop's old and he's fighting the Gremlins and he has a little female Robin by his side.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
Old Man RoboCop?
Yeah, Old Man RoboCop.
RoboCop returns.
RoboCop
The
returns.
Master Race.
That one.
Wrap it up. X-Men 92. That's less than a year, right? So there's less than 12 issues, or
Well, they just rebooted it again.
So,
I believe
well,
they rebooted it.
93.
Sorry, guys. This is why you're confused when it comes to comics because they keep rebooting everything. Can't wait for Rebirth.
So they just rebooted it, but I think it happened just a year ago. Yeah, there were like 12 issues, and they rebooted it just now.
So
It might be less.
So
it might be like 10.
Start now.
Yeah,
Start now.
I go back and read. They rebooted it. It doesn't matter. They're both X-Men 92.
Read then. Start now.
Yeah.
Start now. Reading then. Good list. Good list.
Read it all.
Flitz. What are your top 10 comics that people need to be reading to get into comics?
Well, you know what's great? I was gonna try to be like at some point before we
First,
come.
can
I
we
was
just
gonna
stop
be.
and show the camera like this?
It's not a book.
No, no. This is his iPad case. It's just a book. It's called Book. Book.
I was gonna bring in my books, like, cause I'm a trade reader. I prefer trades because I
He
like.
has, like, a cool
I
bookshelf
read
in
a
his
lot,
place?
and now I've moved basically to like digital.
That's the way to go.
And the savior that comes from that is instead of me bringing in 10 trades, I could just take pictures of my books that I was gonna come in with.
Can't do that with real
Before
books.
you go into your list, 'cause I found this fascinating. I think you guys would love this also. Talking to you, Camera, and the rest of the crew in here. How do you read your comics? What do you do?
I use Marvel Unlimited. I have unlimited access to comic books.
That's like a few
and
bucks a month,
that's-
and you get all the
that's-
Marvel.
It's like $10 a month.
That many monies?
Yeah, I don't,
less
and
than
I really don't know if DC has it as well. But I would pay $10 for Marvel and $10 for DC
DC's probably
to have
working on
infinite
it.
comic books a month.
bet you darker and grittier.
We're gonna do $30 because we're reacting. And
yeah,
it's gonna be dark.
yeah.
They have
I'm
it, it's just darker.
devouring information. My mind is existing so much in the Marvel universe right now. I'm almost at Secret Wars, and before that, I was way behind.
Yeah.
So it feels really good to have access to all these books. So. That being said, I took pictures and mentioning how, it's great because Parker. It's great that you mentioned the Spider-Man thing, and I haven't caught up to Parker Industries and all that stuff yet. But Peter Parker came from somewhere, and it was a low place. He was a kid X, Y, and Z. So now the soul lives on through Miles Morales, Spider-Man, as the young kid who doesn't really have a whole bunch of money but is full of hope, X, Y, and Z, and being established in the world. He's gotten a blessing from Parker himself, which is amazing. And the Spider-Man comic, this whole trade series, coming up through Spider-Man to now
Phil Spider.
Spider-Man.
to Spider-Man, Phil Spider-Man. Now Miles Morales is in Earth 616 as a Spider-Man, and he wants to be Spider-Man. So this is the origin, and I really recommend. And it's great because it's written by Brian Michael Bendis. And if you're a Donald Glover fan, it was a reaction thing, but done right. The fans were like, "Hey, Donald Glover from Spider-Man," and Bendis was like, "I'm in tune with you, young humans, hip and fresh. Here's a Mexo Negro Spider-Man. You're welcome and thank you." Like,
I can't say any of those words.
I'm Michael Bendis.
Yeah, okay.
And if you haven't seen the Donald Glover bit, you absolutely should watch the Donald Glover bit about him being. Oh, it's so funny.
yeah.
How many trades are there of this particular Spider-Man?
I
people
think
wanna get
there
caught up?
are. I think there are like 4 trades, and then there's the giant book, and then you can take your time until it gets to until it gets to.
And
him
that was all the
Darkseid
Ultimate. So that was the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, this is Ultimate Universe, which I was going to go with the Ultimates as one of my books as well, but I didn't. But that's also the Ultimate Universe was on to something. It's gone now. Thor: God of Thunder, an amazing run that I found myself sucked up in to and appreciating. You know, I'm very aware of different deities and getting to know Thor this way, his rise and fall, and him dealing with his oldest self as he became a sun cop and he's losing limbs and meeting his grandchildren, fighting Galactus.
Yeah, sun cops.
Dude, like he is a guardian, and the scale at which he functions and how long he's lived, it goes through all of that, and it's really amazing
he
up to the
dead
point
now.
where he is now. Well, I don't know. In Secret Wars, maybe. I just got to a point where he walked through into another universe, but he loses his hammer and he gets Bjorn, which is his axe and X, Y. It's a whole thing. But it's beautiful. It is. His hammer now belongs to a woman.
John Bjorn's last album was so good.
Now all of everything on your list
These
is
are
a
all
trade.
trades.
So
These are
these
all
are
trades.
just like one-offs that you can pick up
You
the
can pick
entire
up,
trade
and then you
just
can pick
read
up
that.
the next trade.
Let's
You'll
say
be caught
in
up.
theory, one of our viewers didn't know what a trade was.
A trade is what a lot of people
Trade
confuse
paperback.
for. You trade paperback or hard copy, but usually they're called graphic novels. But I was told by Jonathan London, aggressively, those are trades.
Yeah,
they're
graphic
not
novel
graphic
is
novels.
just an adult word for comic book. It's a comic book.
I always think of graphic novels as kind of one-offs.
That's what people think, and that's why
Watchmen is a graphic novel,
False.
right? No?
Watchmen is like, when they call it a graphic novel, it's someone in the PR firm trying to elevate beyond being a comic book or a funny book. Comic book is just like, because the term comic came from the funnies, and it was like funny papers, and it was stuff like that, Garfield and Kathy, and then they had comic books, and people, for some reason, someone in the world in PR thinks people can't distinguish between a comic book and a funny paper book, like a comic strip. So they're like, no, these are graphic novels. It's like, no, they're fucking comic books.
Comic history. With
So pretty much a trade is like 5
It's
to
a collection-
10
5
issues
Exactly.
in one.
Watchmen was a series of issues that
Anthology.
Okay, and it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next book, Avengers versus X-Men. Oh man, this
All of
is
it.
a
Holy
giant
crap.
war.
Yeah.
It's fun, and I really like when people are fighting fights, but they're basically the same thing, and they're fighting for two different things that because they believe they're right. This is basically a civil war where the mutants have one ideal and they have their own messiah, and they're meant to, be reborn through this. And the Avengers are like, hold the frickin' phone here. We own this, and X, Y, and Z. And there's a giant fight. Namor brings up the Atlanteans. It's crazy. It's a fun
Basically,
book.
X-Men were like, hey, I know we sat out in the first Civil War. We're gonna do
Right,
ours.
because I mean, the X-Men, they're like, listen, we're going extinct. We need to protect ourselves. A lot has freaking happened, and
Literally
Avengers
because,
feel like they
what is
embrace
it, Scarlet Witch just kills all the mutants.
Yeah, and they are still haven't recovered from that.
And what's
storyline.
what's important to know about the AVX line is it really sets up the new Avengers and who's
Yeah.
on what
Yeah.
team, because like
Yeah.
it does this.
Well, there's Uncanny Avengers now, and there's Mighty
Yeah,
X-Men.
well, Uncanny Avengers is over. That ended
is why
with
people
Axis.
don't.
This is why people don't, and this
I
is
agree.
why we're
Honestly, this is a sap, but we're trying to give you guys the crux, but really, like, this is a deterrent for me, and they're all digital for me, and I'm still kind of like, wait, all right, I gotta read this, and then, we're trying to whittle
Yeah,
it
we're
down,
trying to whittle it down.
but even I don't know anything, so we're trying to make it doable.
If you don't want to jump into the giant world of Marvel, Nemesis is amazing. Mark Miller's great
Millar.
at writing Mark Miller is great.
Frank Miller, Mark Millar.
Greg Millar is
learned
great
this one.
at writing trades, at writing one-offs, and it shows. And it's like, we want to turn this into a movie. This is Nemesis. This is one where basically, if Batman decided, hey, I'm a bad guy, and he's the opposite of Batman, right? He wears white. He doesn't have the ears. He uses guns. He has all sorts of awesome gadgets, and it's gory.
He's the world's greatest supervillain.
He's the world's
and he
greatest.
basically goes to war with Jim Gordon.
Basically,
And it's so
he's
good.
so smart.
So
It's
it takes place
beautiful.
in the Batman universe?
No, it's its own universe.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Or
Okay.
if Millar has its own universe, which could potentially really. He could build out his own team easily.
So this is great. It's not Marvel. It's not DC. It's
No.
just a really good read.
It's a really
The great
good
thing about
that's-
Millar is that Millar, all his stuff is almost like parodies of real comics, right? You've got stuff like Nemesis, which is a parody of Batman, Superior, which is a parody of Shazam to a degree. Like all these
Yeah.
characters are kind of like twinges and tweaks
Yeah.
on the main characters. Maybe because he like tried to pitch them to like actual studios, and they're like, "All right, Batman is nuts," and they're like, "Nope, pass."
And then he's like, I'll do it myself. Put him in white. Give him guns.
Can I just say that Nemesis was one of the few comics that's like actually kind of unsettled me.
Oh man, it's so
Oh, that's
good.
great. That's a beautiful
Millar does that though.
reveal.
Millar finds a way to-
And I always appreciate when they're able to do that.
yeah,
That's awesome.
It's so good.
That's super
Who
dope.
wrote Kick-Ass?
Millar.
Millar, yeah, it's all
did
Millar.
Kick-Ass.
Like,
Mark Millar did Nemesis.
Kick-Ass 2 was like unsettling for me. I'm like, what am I?
Two-cast.
What is this?
Yeah, it's so good. The fact that he's able to do that, and I have a bunch of Millar books.
So just a good read. So Google best Mark Millar books and then read those.
Millar.
A.R. Miller. So Daredevil Father, I loved Joe Quesada's run. Is he like what, CEO now? Like he's like
Something like
so,
that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
He worked his way up
creative.
super duper. But he had an amazing run of Daredevil and Daredevil Father. If Daredevil's a hot button. People are watching the show. They love the show. You can see kind of where it comes from, and the way Quesada. I'm pulled in very much so by illustration, and Daredevil is the man without fear, and I feel like that is one of the things that comes across. You get the father story, and you'll get that he's a detective, and there's copy, but he jumps out of windows and off of different things, and it's so beautiful. He did it more recently, like he jumped out a window, like in the most in season 2 of Daredevil. I was like, man without fear, man without
Yeah, I
fear,
know
stuff
what
like
you're
that.
talking
So
about.
yeah, and I was like,
so good too. I thought it was just happened. I'm sorry.
and this is Joe Quesada is the artist and working with a sort of different writers, but I feel
with
like
the
this is
chair.
a great way to meet Daredevil and get into Daredevil. Why he's
what
such a big
storyline
deal.
is it? Is it anywhere tied into the show?
No.
yet.
He's finding a serial killer, and
So if people
taking
like
on-
the show, it's a good pickup.
it's a good pickup.
Okay.
And even if you're curious about the show, it's a good pickup.
I'm reading Reborn.
Born Again.
Born Again. If you liked season 2, Born Again you see a lot of themes in Born Again that they used in season 2 of Daredevil. So if you're looking for a closer tie, that's also a good read.
Season 2 of Daredevil is another one that's kind of like, and a little bit from this, and a little bit from this, and
Yeah.
Punisher, and Elektra, and a little bit more Karen Page. Like, that's a lot of things.
It's issues. It's a
Yeah.
cross. It's Marvel Knights. Like
Yeah.
it's really interesting. My next book, Thanos Rising. Oh my gosh. So this is fun for me personally because my mind does this weird thing with comic books and the lessons that the different writers try to present through them. But if you don't know who Thanos is, I mean, he's the one that's coming, right? Infinity is coming. This is the dude that everyone's worried about. This is a great introduction to who he was as a kid growing up, how he fell
years of Marvel movies. They still haven't really explained who Thanos is.
That's his strength.
He grew up as a kid. He's a genius. He fell in love with death. He tried to live a normal life, but he comes to find out that this
He has
thing
a
he was
raisin
in
for
love
a
with,
face?
Issue 3 where Thanos is a Walmart greeter is amazing.
I mean, that's pretty much his life. And then he has this awakening where he slaughters this dude who tries to belittle him. He's like, okay, well, this is who I am. I am death, and I am absolutely insane. And what I got out of it is, and it's a fun
I
thing
should
for
kill
me,
everyone.
is no, it was why can't I be that with life? Like if you take concepts like
should
that, it's
live
like,
everyone.
why can't I be in love with life the way he is insanely in
became a
love with
doctor.
death? So I became a doctor.
Yeah.
And then now I'm a Time Lord. Yeah. So my secret's out. It's well written. It takes you a whole bunch of places, and as Thanos is, it gets to a point where you relate, and then you're like, oh man, you are terrible. He murders his father. Okay. The next book, Saga, as I took,
Yep.
Saga is that's the classic trades. There's 5 out now, coming up
I
on
think
6.
we're 34 or
You-
35 issues.
That's the crazy part about Saga is like everyone's like Saga, and they've been that way for years. But Brian K. Vaughan is so slow to write these that there's only 35 issues. That's not a really long read.
And you can
Yeah.
it's great because it's a whimsical, adventurous, romantic novel.
It's like
really, when
Romeo and
you don't
Juliet,
realize, it's Romeo and
Fairy
Juliet
tale
in
space
space
fantasy.
with rocket trees. And
It's a
stuff.
space fantasy.
It's a
It's
space, it's a space, and it's beautiful. And if you don't like superheroes, it's got you, and you're
Yeah.
good. And if you're a person who's just leaking imagination,
I'm almost
it's got
sad
you.
that we're introducing you to this comic now because you only have 35 issues to read.
But
It's so good.
they will hold you.
Yeah,
the
they will.
entire 35 issues, you'll be like, okay, I need to read the next one. This is one of my favorite books, Invincible. I love Invincible. It's up to there's like 19 trades of this out now, maybe 20, and it's consistent. It's consistent with its universe. So people, if you're worried about reboots and X, Y, and Z, start from Jump and enjoy the ride. And it's very aware of itself. It parodies all sorts of Marvel and DC comic books and characters
Again,
and
this is
archetypes.
another
X, Y, and
solo
Z.
one.
This is another solo. It's by the dude who did Walking Dead.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman, when he was like, I need to just step away from death for like 5 minutes and do something a little lighthearted. This is like his kid Superman.
Yeah, and it's Superboy basically.
Yeah, same guy
but
who
it's
wrote
beautiful.
Walking
and
Dead,
he,
yeah,
he
for-
had
to
now like
connect
up
those
to the
dots.
point. Now he has a family. They've moved off the planet. He's had his insides ripped out and put back inside of his.
Really
it goes
lighthearted
there.
stuff. Robert Kirkman.
It's so good. Yeah, but as a superhero, so it's really good. Next is Class War. If you haven't heard of Class War, which you probably have not,
Then wake up.
there was supposed to be a sequel. A lot of people compare it to the Millar-style books.
Miller.
Imagine if the government started a superhero program and they started using them as weapons. If Superman became a weapon of the government, X, Y, and Z. But it's another one that's gruesome, and it has a whole bunch of turns as the government super soldier realizes, he's being duped, and what is good and what is bad in X, Y, and Z. And there's people who are willing to, for money, decimate anyone in the name of the government.
He's being
So
duped
it's
by
really good.
dupe from X-Force.
And then my last but definitely not least, X Factor. Peter David's run of X Factor is so good.
whose run?
It's
Peter David.
Peter David.
did Hulk for a while. He's written so many things. He's
For a brief moment, I thought you said Peter Dinklage. I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
Peter
Peter Dinklage.
Tiny hands.
Peter David's
really
run
get
of
those lines.
of X Factor was amazingly good. It's come and it is gone. And again, it's superheroes, but they're a detective agency and they have superpowers, but they deal more in the magic side of things, and it falls into demons and X, Y, and Z. And you fall in love with Multiple Man. That's how I've learned how to really enjoy him, because he doesn't know what his dupes are going to do. That's the X Factor. It can be anything.
You said
Expect
X
the
Factor
unexpected.
is done now, right?
This run of X Factor is done.
this
Peter
run.
David's
So you
run.
can actually
You start
read all
from
of it.
here.
Now it's like Matt Fraction or something.
Yeah,
It's
Matt
like
Fraction, who's also good, but I haven't started his run yet. This is detective work, and it's whimsical, and I see it.
Whimsy.
Yeah, there's whimsy.
All right, I'm gonna fill in, because I did a top 5 this week talking about my comics, so I'm gonna fill in the blanks for whatever these guys don't mention. So we're gonna move over to Sped. What's on your list?
Show pictures.
Show pictures.
Show
I
your
don't have
art.
pictures.
Show your work.
That's just.
And these are nudes.
If you've read Junji Ito, then chances are you've probably read all of Junji Ito. He's a Japanese horror comic artist. He does a lot of Lovecraftian and
Nice.
Cronenberg-esque stuff. And this, his most recent work, is a departure from that. It's called Cat Diary, and it's about him. It's an autobiographical comic. It's a one-off of him and his wife living together and her adopting her 2 cats, and it's gross and it's funny and it's all the things a comic should be. It's got all the really grotesque kind of art that he does that's very fun to look at in that kind of way.
That dude loves his ink. He's like Sam Keith. There's so much ink on the page.
Yeah, and he makes these just really compelling, gross art that really carries these stories. And then next is Manifest Destiny, which is an ongoing. They're up to the 3rd trade, I think recently came out.
Okay, there you go. Speaking in trades.
Yeah, speaking in trades, and it's a retelling of Lewis and Clark, but with a lot of the
This one sounds really, because I didn't know about this one until you mentioned it earlier, and this sounds great.
yeah, it's got a lot of the mythic. It's basically America's this unexplored land, and they take liberties with that. So, they have like cannibalistics. Not cannibalistics. Cannibalistics.
Cannibal sticks.
Yeah.
These like plants that kind of eat people and absorb them. Where it's kind of like a take on the
Much
Roanoke
like in America,
story.
yes.
Yeah,
happened.
out in the West.
That's what happened to Sacagawea. She came across one of these plants.
She's a character. She's a character.
Oh, okay. I gotta read this.
And they're like giant creatures, giant. It's just cool shit.
So okay, so the different take on their travel across America. What I'm gonna interrupt your list here to mention. I think it's really funny to see the themes so far that we have. Like Alex, it seemed like your list was like a lot of stylistic choices. Flitz, yours was like all cosmic and space wizardry with some mutants, and then like your comics seem to be like the indie run. So like these ones aren't really affiliated with Marvel or DC.
Mine are just Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
Good,
I
yeah.
have a family circus collection
Yeah,
that will blow your mind.
The Far Side. Are we just naming?
I can. Do you want me to
Far
recite
Side.
all Far Side comics because I can do it?
Great.
I have the
believe that.
hardcovers in my
You
bathroom.
want a Larson off?
Yes.
What's next on your list?
Gross.
Next up is Zombo, which is another super weird. My roommate got it for me. I was like, "What the heck is this?" It's got just this grotesque. Grotesque is my word of the day.
Works.
Just kind of half-eaten. He's like the Hulk if the Hulk had been eaten, like and just kind of left out.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of these comics are completely new to me. I'm like,
me
hey,
too.
Zombo, I'm like, all right, so he's the Hulk, and he's half-eaten. Is he as strong as the Hulk?
He's as strong as the Hulk, but
More
he's a-
edible.
Yeah, more edible. He hasn't actually been eaten. He's just kind of like a zombie.
He's
Hulk.
decaying.
He's
Gotcha.
Inedible
decaying.
Hulk.
the undead black.
What really captured me is there's this storyline, and there's only two volumes, two trades, and it's it takes place in the far future, and there's this gang that tries to commit suicide in the most exciting and eloquent ways.
Like in the back of a Volkswagen.
Not like that. Like they try and go as far out of their way as they can to have the most epic suicide for their like 15 seconds of fame, and that's their whole shtick.
Interesting.
And so they kind of team up with Zombo, and Zombo kind of helps them, discover.
Zombo, helping out the everyman.
Yeah, and so I had never seen anything like that.
Visually, like
Yeah,
it's just
visually,
cool.
And narratively. And it was and it's very dense. It's a parody of a lot of different things, but most of all, it's original.
I like it.
Nice.
And then Dark Knight Master Race.
Solid.
Yeah, Brian. How do you say his last name?
First one reliable.
Yeah,
I like that.
Brian
What's
Azzarello.
what's Batman Master Race? Is that like a one-off?
It's the continuation of Dark Knight Returns and Batman and Robin All Stars. What was that called?
Not Batman and Robin. So it was Dark Knight Returns and then Dark Knight Returns 2. It's the Frank Miller stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
Frank
The stuff-
Miller and Brian.
Osceola.
Yeah, some of the coolest art. Frank Miller's Batman has always been my favorite take on Batman. There's nothing like it.
Sure.
And yeah, just the cover art alone for some of them is fantastic. Southern Bastards is really cool. It's
Inglorious Bastards, but in the South. They
it honestly isn't that. Like the main bad guy is a football coach. It's
Okay.
called Coach Boss, and
Okay.
and it's just having grown up in that those smaller southern towns where football is kind of king of the town high school football. It's interesting.
It's a
to
comic
see it.
line about football?
No, I mean it definitely follows like other characters in the town, and it's got the violence. It's an exaggerated take on a small southern town,
Gotcha.
which was exciting for me. And The Humans is really awesome. It takes place.
Not Inhumans.
No, it's called The Humans, and it's kind of a joke because they're all apes. It's about an ape biker gang in the 70s.
Your list is amazing.
They've all come back from Vietnam, and they're feeling a little betrayed by Uncle Sam.
Feeling Bonobo betrayed.
Yeah, feeling and it plays it really straight. But they're all different kind of types of monkeys and stuff, so it's visually exciting.
So Planet of the Apes, if it wasn't like this crazy sci-fi, it was just like
yeah, it plays it straight.
Americana.
It's just
Americana of the Apes.
I think it's just kind of a device to set it apart from things. Because if it were just it would be kind of a hard.
It'd be great if his original story was just like, all right, there's a bunch of guys that come back from the set from Vietnam and they're just in war, and somebody goes, can they be apes?
What if?
They could
Sure, I mean,
Sold.
Make it happen.
yeah, but it's good. It would be good on its own, and the addition of apes, can't go wrong.
That's true.
And Witches, I'm a big horror comic fan. And,
Wyches.
Wyches, WYTCH.
Okay.
ESY.
They're witches in Wyoming.
ZT.
Witches,
and
scissors.
it's just
Now, is this an ongoing or is it
I believe
done?
it's ongoing. I've only read the first few issues. But again, it's a small town, and they're like these witches that they're not witches per se. They're like a unspeakable horror where if you look at them, you get yanked away. And
Medusas. Abogadas.
So they are like the craft witches. You don't want to hang out with them.
they're not as
They're not as hot.
they're not as in.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, in. That's what
Sex Criminals is great.
Speaking of which,
I love a good origin story in Sex Criminals.
I thought you were going to say a good orgy.
I love a good orgy story in Sex Criminals.
No, and it's about people who figure out they have the ability after they orgasm to stop time.
Wait, really?
Yeah, and the time.
Man, if I had that ability, nothing would get done.
That's
Because
Or
kind of-
everything would get done.
And it kind of takes,
Giggity.
I don't want to throw around like sex positive and feminist, but it's very sex positive and feminist
Sex
in a
robot.
way that's unobtrusive and it's refreshing to see sexuality written about so kind of candidly without worry of consequence.
good for them.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
It's not afraid to show anything. And I think in that sense, it's inoffensive.
I was like, what word is it going to go with? Inoffensive. Okay, so that's unique.
Yeah, but and then
a lot of
obviously
nudity, I hope.
It
Yeah,
goes
no,
for it,
there's-
though,
there-
doesn't
yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah, it goes for
doesn't
it.
Doesn't a like goblin demon come out of the guy's penis later
I have
on?
not gotten that far.
Oh yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
There's a cock goblin?
But I just mean like
It's my nickname for Joven.
Oh yeah, no, it's full frontal. Like
That's my favorite Spider-Man villain.
Like the one guy discovered, like basically, when he's a kid, he uses the power to he'll masturbate, then run into the porno store and steal like all the porno magazines, and then just like run out with them. So they use it for like
What a waste of talent.
no, I mean, and then they obviously rob some banks,
Yeah.
and that's where
Sperm banks.
To buy
sperm
more- to
banks,
buy more
and
porn.
they deposit.
This is
Yeah, but it's just
reasonable.
it's fun, and I've never seen
Is
anything
it
like
is it rather new?
Yeah, it's pretty new. It's ongoing. And
Kind
then
of a cool concept. I like that a
yeah.
lot. Like, I feel like it'd be weird. Like, you know how like the press, they only know what about Spider-Man, like certain things. It'd be like they would just think this person is just popping around, and then he does his one Lois Lane interview. He's like, yeah, I just jerk off everywhere. Everyone's like, oh, you're the worst superhero ever.
they're awesome. Yeah, and it's a couple, and it's kind of about their journey as a couple.
Okay.
Because they both have the power, and then the works of Lee Bermejo, if you're into art.
Nah.
I do I like
If you
art.
like art, everything
Stanley
looks.
Bermejo, actually. That's Stanley's
Yeah,
new name.
Stanley
Yeah,
Bermejo.
yeah.
Eel Nats. If you guys remember the cheat code from.
Eel Nats.
Yeah,
Eel
it's
Nats is Stanley backwards.
It was the cheat code in all the old Spider-Man games.
Nerd.
Yeah, and
I knew it.
he did a one-off called Joker. He did a one-off called.
That's right. He
Luther.
did Joker.
Yeah.
Because the art on that, you're right, was like intense. It was good.
Yeah, and then he did another one called Luther, which is
Based on the
even
Idris
more.
Elba BBC show.
Yes.
Yeah.
How? Where's this knowledge come from?
It's not.
It's not that.
It's Lex Luthor.
Well, yes, but the fact that you knew this Idris
know
Elba
that show
BBC.
was.
It's about, okay, how about deeper? It's about the man that went up against the Catholic Church in the early
Okay,
days.
Sped, continue. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he did a Mad Max one that was supposedly bad. So
Did you read it?
I didn't read it.
Because it's bad.
Just supposedly it was
So
like
read Joker.
It was like a Furiosa.
And then take that out, then read
origins-
everything else.
It was like a Furiosa origin story, and supposedly it just kind of undermined what made
You mean
it
it
great.
wasn't as great as this great movie that we all got?
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
No, that's
Is
too bad.
Joven a naysayer of
Yeah, he's
Mad
a
Max?
I'm a little
contrarian. He hates Howard the Duck and George Miller.
Yeah.
Cat shirts.
You like Babe Pig in the City?
No, it should have been called Bacon in My Belly.
It's a good movie.
All right,
Thank you.
Matt Rowe.
Matt Robb, you're listening.
I don't know how I could follow that up, Joe.
You laughing at my jokes. You laugh
So
at them.
there, I usually go by the comics I read. I'm such a child sometimes, just because there's so many, and how do you
Too
pick?
many.
That I usually go by. I'll go by characters that I have like an emotional investment in, or a writer I have an emotional investment in, or an artist that I have an emotional investment in. So each
You're
of these
so emotional. Jeez.
Each of these, well, no, because I'm not like, or actually the fourth is usually like something that comes highly recommended by friends, right? Which is usually the one that everyone kind of goes to. It's like, oh, I'm not reading this, but I'll start because everyone says how good it is. Each of these kind of falls in one of those categories. Obviously, first one made me fall in love with his art, Kingdom Come, Alex Ross's work. It's so good. It is.
I want it to be the last DC movie.
I so desperately do too. I don't know if they'd ever do it.
And is it a standalone?
It's a standalone.
Yeah.
It takes place in an alternate future, basically, where like the superheroes, the Justice League disbands. Superman gives up because Lois Lane dies, as opposed to all these other Superman
And
stories. where
Magog
Lois
is messes us
Magog is this guy who pretends he's one of the new gods, and he comes to Earth, and he's like, "I am now." He like takes Superman down, and he actually takes him down, and Superman quits, and he
Yeah.
like literally goes into hiding. He goes back to
on a farm in
not
Kansas.
a fake farm. It's not real.
Yeah,
It's all a
that's
hologram.
right.
Yeah. So it's so good, and
Yeah.
like Batman is crippled, and he's in a full body cast, and it's just it is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so
Oh
good.
yeah, all these old superheroes all retired.
It's so
Super good.
Well,
read.
what happens is they all have to come back because the new superheroes don't understand a code of ethics.
And the old superhero, because Magog kills.
Magog kills all the new Justice League members. They literally
They're
are just
not ready for Luthor at all.
It's funny because it kind of plays into the Zack Snyder verse where it's like all these new superheroes have no care for the people and the citizens that are getting in the way of all this chaos.
Yep.
So all these old heroes need to come in and be like, "You're doing it wrong."
Stop.
Everyone loves the return of the old heroes.
Oh yeah,
Everyone does.
that one panel is like so
awesome.
great.
Billy Batson's a slave.
Yeah, but it's one of the first times that they did it in the early '90s. It's so good. Read it. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we talked about Mark Millar, two of my favorite Mark Millar stories. One is Old Man Logan. It's perfect. Again,
It is.
old hero coming back.
It is admittedly perfect, though.
Yeah, and I know that they're trying to do it with the
They
new.
will never do it justice.
They'll never do it justice because it's going to be Fox, and they're not going to have. I mean, literally, Old Man Logan, Wolverine is tricked by Mysterio into thinking that all the villains break into the X Mansion, but in actually, so Wolverine goes nuts and kills everybody. He wakes up, and in actuality, he killed all the X-Men. He killed everyone. Popped claws through the skull of Rogue, Jean Grey, everybody. So he's like, that's it. He gives up.
Dude, that's messed up.
He breaks.
Wait,
That's
isn't Rogue
messed up.
Jean Grey?
Rogue is different than Jean Grey.
Okay.
Hannah
Jean Grey is Phoenix.
Yes.
Sorry.
Kind of. Which you guys.
You're good. You're back on.
I'm gonna go.
So, no, it's okay. Again, there's too much. So he gives up. He decides to just have a wife and kids. The villains take over the rest of the world. It literally, the U.S. is broken up by different counties, and it's like Kingpin as a county, and Magneto as a county, and Green Goblin. It's
Red
so
Skull.
good. Red Skull is the president. It's so good. And him and an old blind Hawkeye have to go across
With
the country.
one arm.
It's the coolest Hawkeye will ever be.
Yeah, it's so good.
And it becomes Lone Wolf and Cub at
Yeah,
one
a little
point.
bit
like,
Lone Wolf and Cub. He fights Hulk, and Hulk has a
Yeah.
bunch of Hulk babies that are
And
all
he's
like
all-
redneck hillbillies
Yeah, 'cause they're all inbred.
Yeah.
It's him and She.
Because he was banging.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
Oh,
it's
it's so
so
good.
good.
It's so good. All of that.
All of that is great. They tried to redo it now and try to place it in this current Marvel universe. It's all right. They just wanted to like shoehorn Wolverine to the current X-Men, Old Man Logan to the current
Read
X-Men.
Old Man Logan. The
Classic Old Man
original.
Logan by Mark Millar. I know we talked about it earlier. Joven, I think it's in your top 5. Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, so good.
Darth Vader is amazing. When everyone was on that Star Wars D a couple months ago, when the movie came out, everyone's like, you gotta read all the comics, they're so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, eh. And then they were like, but it's canon. I'm like, oh shit. Well, now I have to.
They have a
we
book
go.
called Canon, by the way,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is an asshole move.
But it's so good. It's basically what happens between, all the books are what happens between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah.
which there are 3 years between those two movies. Not a lot of people know. It's great, and it does make you kind of read Darth Vader down and a couple issues of Star Wars. It's solid, though. It's really, really good. Another book that I actually was recommended to me by a friend, Vision, current run of Vision, and it's all about like the loneliest android because he's an android created by Ultron. He decides to go back to the lab and make himself a family, and it's so
That's
it's so
Vision.
twisted. He's got 2 daughters and a wife, and he literally has a
Oh, no, that's weird.
yeah, it's really weird.
That's weird.
Like he makes himself a family, and then he just wants to have other people around him that he can love because he was in love with Scarlet Witch, but she's crazy. It's really, really good. There's like 5 issues out right now.
Which
It's
means he has
solid.
2 kids out in the world.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
does he-
Yeah, it's so good. Another book that came out a while ago that was a limited run that they never touched on again. And it basically was like it put Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner back on the map. They're currently doing Harley Quinn. Was a book called The Pro, which is amazing. And Jimmy and Amanda's art and their story is so good. And it basically is like, what if a hooker who has the worst life ever all of a sudden gets superpowers? And it's great, and it's super violent and irreverent, and there's a lot of references and digs on Justice League characters and Avenger characters, and it's very raunchy and very ridiculous, and their take on like Superman is this Boy Scout, and she's like, I'll suck your dick, and he's like, oh, what? No. And it's so
And he
good.
kills her. And it's
I like that.
Yeah, but
It's fine and he kills her.
it's so good. Another Millar book that is currently going out right now. It's called Huck.
I wish I could read.
It's another great run. It's basically his kind of take on like an adult superhero, Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer. Mark Millar, who did all the other books we talked about.
You're gonna confuse the audience. Mark Millar, Frank Miller.
Really, really good. It's about this kind of like dim superhero, like Captain America power-esque guy
You need a
who lives in
flashlight?
this. He needs a flashlight. He basically has the superpower to find things that people lose, and he's raised by this nunnery that tells him every day you should do one good deed. So every day he does one good deed, and then it gets out, and then he has like 1,000 good deeds to do, and it's this crazy sci-fi story. Really, really good. Another one that's out right now by Brian K. Vaughan, who did Saga, is Paper Girls, which is about these 4 newspaper delivery girls that like uncover this crazy like conspiracy theory thing, and it just gets more and more ridiculous. It's like if Saga is Brian K. Vaughan's Star Wars, this is very much his Stand By Me, and it's very grounded in reality and very real, but it's the writing of Saga, and it's really, really solid.
Paper Girls. How far into that are
I think
we?
there's like 4 or 5 issues right now. It's ongoing right now, so get it. Speaking of great stories, they're about to have a season 2 of their PlayStation show Powers, by Mike Oeming and Brian Michael Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis, who's obviously, I think, one of the greatest writers of comic history to date.
Really?
I think so.
What is he most known for?
He did Avengers for a while. I think he was part of Civil War. He was one of the ideators of Civil War. He was one of the ideators of the Ultimate Universe. He's solid. Like, he's done all of the tops. Powers is great, and it's this crazy world where superheroes exist, and they actually have to create a police squad to patrol the powered characters, and it's about how like corrupt superheroes are and how corrupt supervillains are and how not all superheroes are that good. It's solid. The series, though we have friends that are in the series, is but it's read the books. The books are really
Now these are all
Really
trades, or
there are 5 or 6 trades, and then they kind of, when Marvel bought the production company, they tried to reboot it and do some more. Read the classics. The classics are great. There's like Who Killed Retro Girl and like a bunch of really solid ones. Another one that's currently ongoing right now, and though I may not agree with all of his decisions in the world, Max Landis is currently doing a book called Superman American Alien.
Yep.
Which is his kind of reboot of the Superman origin story, but it also touches a little bit of Bruce Wayne and the Batman. It touches a little bit of Green Arrow and a lot of these things. But it's basically, I mean, Max Landis, for as eccentric as he is a fan. And we're all fans, and it's a lot of stuff of like, this is totally what I would have asked. You know what I mean? Like a young teenage Clark Kent having a conversation with young teenage Pete Ross. And he's like, so you just look at girls' boobies all day? And he's like, no, it's gross. Because like, if you think about it, my X-ray vision, it's all mushed up in a bra. So it's kind of, I did it once and it's gross. I'm like, oh man, I didn't think about that. Because when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I want X-ray vision. But I'm like, no, I don't want X-ray vision because I'm going to see everything mushed up together. I'm like, that's kind of gross.
Probably fine.
Yeah. Thanks, Sped. And the last one is something that Sped referenced earlier. Garth Ennis did a book called The Powers, and if you want to talk about unsettling books, this kind of falls into the Boys. Sorry, The Boys. The Powers, and then The Powers. No, this one's called
The Power Boys.
The Boys, which is funny because it was actually written. Garth Ennis is a friend of Simon Pegg, and he wrote the main character as Simon Pegg would play him in a movie, and even looks like Simon Pegg. Yeah,
That's how movies get made. Isn't
Agreed.
that how Sam Jackson became Nick Fury?
Yeah, because Bendis wrote him as
In the
Ultimate Universe as
There you go.
Sam Jackson. It's really good. It's another one where it's like this is like the British government's way of controlling superpowers, but they all have kind of like drug-based superpowers, and they all like just take down these heroes, and it's like a secret covert like MI5. Mission Impossible 5.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's really, really dark, but it's really good, and it's very funny, and if you hear Simon Pegg's voice as the main character, it makes the whole series
That's
worth
also another one of the more unsettling things
yeah.
I've read.
Yeah. Just dudes punching through heads and stuff. It's intense.
There's also just kind of like when they like sexually harass the one girl as soon as she comes up, and that was I don't know, just kind of something that I wasn't used to seeing. And
So you read it 9 times, and then time froze. Right
Yeah, that's so weird.
It's like it goes there.
It goes there. So these were amazing lists. Again, we have the lists in the description below. For me to kind of fill in some of the gaps, if you love The Walking Dead, I'm a big fan of the comics.
What is that?
It's this awesome zombie story.
Oh, zombies. That's right.
But seriously, the comics are so much better than the show.
And you could read both because they have announced they're going in 2 directions.
They're very different. Also, we were talking about some Thanos. We were talking about some Spider-Man. Who cares about Thanos? Spider-Man has a crossover with Deadpool right now, and it's 3 issues in. And I was thinking the Deadpool Thanos crossover, and I mixed them up. But Spider-Man Deadpool it's a very talky comic, but very, very good. It's only a few issues in, and I can't second enough how good Darth Vader is that Matt Robb was talking about. So definitely read Darth Vader and all the other comics here. But that's your little introduction into what comics.
Spencer's.
Yeah, none of all the Spencers. This is your introduction of what kind of comics you should be reading. What's going to help you get up to date, and what's going to turn you into a better comic book fan. Because the more you know, the
Half the battle.
yeah, that.
The more you know half the
And that's an Unpopular Cast. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you later.
The simple iconography, the simplifying of the plot lines. Just because the plot line is simple doesn't mean that it's told poorly.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's dumbed down.
Anytime you want.
It's just fantastic.
And then I was Pinky on Pinky in the Brain, and I got all nervy every time I, get along with my friend Maurice LaMarche, who played the Brain. And then let's see, you were.